Welcome back to the Communication Mastery podcast with me, Mark Burlinson. This is where we unleash the power of understanding to build bridges and not boxes, because we understand that communication is the oxygen of teamwork. We all need communication to thrive in life and work. And in this podcast, we want to increase your communication mastery so that we can all learn to adapt to one another and be effective in our communication. So thanks for being here. Let's learn together. Well, welcome back. And this week I want to talk a little bit about a conversation I had just a few days ago at a ribbon cutting. I was representing the local Chamber of Commerce at a ribbon cutting for a local hotel, new hotel. And I was chatting to one of the folks there, and he said this to me. He said, "Can I afford to invest in communication in today's economy?" And obviously, a lot of people worried about the economy these days, and he was anxious about could he do this and it be an effective investment. But my response to him was, well, can you afford not to? And I wanted just to unpack that for us in today's episode, because there are a whole load of surveys that show how important it is to address the issue of communication. It's kind of the hidden issue in our businesses these days that we don't realize is causing as much difficulty as it is. I've got a few statistics here. Ineffective communication claims 1 in 5 work days in the US economy, particularly in small businesses. There was a survey that I think it was 75% of business leaders in the small and medium-sized business space said that they experienced the cost of ineffective communication. They said they and their teams spend too much time resolving or solving miscommunications, whether between each other or with their clients and customers. And that, of course, is a huge issue. And during the pandemic, a lot of people just literally ran away from their jobs. They called it the great attrition. About 19 million knowledge workers left their posts during the pandemic, and many of them haven't returned or have gone on to do other things. And the consulting firm McKinsey looked into this to try and figure out what was going on for so many people to move away from their work in that kind of way. And they said this: the great attrition stems from a great disconnect. Communication was one of the fundamental causes of so many people leaving their jobs and leaving their companies without the workforce that they needed. When we moved into hybrid and remote work settings, as we still have in a lot of businesses today, that highlighted the communication challenges that were hidden before then, and it exposed our lack of communication skills. And so for me, that gave me fresh impetus to really focus on the small and mid-sized business space, to be able to help those businesses to improve their communication, to increase their communication skills, to achieve communication mastery because of the return on that investment of time as well as money. Effective communication drives real business value. There was another survey, I think it was the Grammarly and Harris report on the state of business communication. I got these statistics from that. 89% of business leaders agreed with the statement that communication is one of the most underrated professional skills. And 88% also said, I wish my company had better tools to help people communicate effectively. That's a huge percentage of people who wish that communication was better. And if we would invest just a little in communication, we would see such a huge return. I see it again and again with my clients where they say, hey, this was just so valuable for us to look at our communication styles, to understand ourselves and understand each other so that we can adapt to our customers, our clients, the ones we serve, and our mission can be achieved far more effectively because we're using communication where it should be, right at the heart of our business. Humans are relational animals, aren't we? And until we solve the communication issue, we're always going to struggle to be productive or profitable or to achieve our mission in our business or organization. That Grammarly Harris report also estimated the total cost of ineffective communication across the US economy. Would you like to guess how much that estimate was? About $1.2 trillion annually. That's huge, isn't it? There was a report by David Grossman called The Cost of Poor Communications, and he looked at 400 companies with 100,000 employees each. So we're talking big companies now. And he cited an average loss per company of $62.4 million a year from inadequate communication between employees and from employees to those that they were serving as customers or clients or even suppliers. And that's why I put together this white paper that's available on my website, the Business Communication White Paper, because it takes those statistics and starts to talk about some of the issues that they unearth, some of the problems that they reveal. And the potential in that report is that there's a return on investment for investing in communication that is way beyond what most business leaders would expect, because the potential of communication to impact every area of your business is so huge. And in this report, I've quoted Nelson Mandela. He said, when you talk to someone in a language he understands, it goes to his head. But if you talk to someone in his own language, it goes to his heart. And that highlights for me the issue of being able to adapt to one another. I was with the Better Business Bureau just a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking there about the whole area of sales and how important it is for somebody in sales to be able to connect with the lead that they're following up at that moment. Because some folks need you to get to the facts and just get to the bottom line. But many people want you to be able to connect with them on an emotional level, to relate to them with their feelings and how they're doing, to establish that relational connection before you sell them something. And then others need to be given facts and figures and be allowed to think, given space to think. And so the standard kind of reach a decision now sales tactic won't work with those who are more thinking oriented. Even within the thinking spectrum, there's the ones who need time to consider it for themselves, and then there's others who need to be shown a strategy, steps to reach a goal, those kinds of things. Those are two very different approaches to thinking about a sale or thinking about a purchase. So being able to train sales folks to be able to adapt to those different styles is crucial for sales to be effective. American business wastes billions of dollars every year on miscommunication. If you're ready to change that trend, invest in communication IQ today, because it will give you a great return in terms of employee alignment, retention, customer engagement, profitability, sales outcomes. All of those areas will grow as you understand the science of communication. So go to my website at markburlinson.com, click on the business button, and let's have an introductory chat today about how I can help your business be more productive by enhancing communication. In customer service, likewise, to not be able to acknowledge properly a customer's issue or challenge or problem or complaint means that you're already setting yourself up to fail in customer service. Whereas if you can establish, how does this customer need me to relate to them in order to acknowledge and solve their problem? It's different with every single call. And so developing the skill, the communication skill, to be able to make those adaptations is crucial. All of that's in the white paper here. Because there's a science to communication, we say this again and again on the podcast, those 7 distinct communication styles, you can learn their characteristics, you can understand their distress. It's another thing I was discussing with the Better Business Bureau folks on their podcast, that most often you encounter someone's distress when communication's not working. And knowing how to decipher that, how to diagnose that, what specific communication style is needed to help that distress. I can't just carry on doing what I would normally do. I sometimes use the analogy of us Americans and us Brits as well. When we're abroad, if we're in a foreign country and people are not understanding, we tend just to talk louder and harder and faster or slower in order to try and get them to understand. But if they're not understanding the English, then you're not going to be able to establish a connection with whoever it is you're talking to. It's the same with communication styles. Using your preferred communication style more forcefully is not going to solve the issue if the person you want to connect with has a different communication style as their preferred style. We need to learn to adapt, and that's what we talk about so often, isn't it? So the science helps us to learn how to resolve conflicts, how to establish connections, how to build bridges, how to adapt our styles in the moment, to quickly understand, to quickly learn what is it I need to change, what is it I need to adapt, how can I adjust in order for this conversation, this interaction to be fruitful for both of us. And so I go into more detail in the business communication paper of how communication IQ can really make a difference for your business, as it has for so many others. And I want to encourage you, if you haven't already seen this, go to my website, click on the business button, and there's a button there where you can simply download that white paper, and you can read it for yourself. Consider what would make a difference in my own business, whether you're a retail store or you're a service-oriented business, or maybe you're an entrepreneur and you're just getting started and you want to be as successful as you can. In all of those settings, I've seen communication IQ make a real difference so that people can be able to make a connection with not only their customers, but then their employees as they grow as well. And if your team works well together, then you're going to be successful in business. If your team has conflicts and miscommunications, drops the ball, misses the point, doesn't understand the customer, doesn't understand the client, all of the time you're fighting an uphill battle in order to get your business to be profitable and to succeed, because communication is the unseen issue that's getting in the way. I love to turn obstacles and roadblocks into launch pads and opportunities by helping businesses with their communication. So I encourage you, go to markburlinson.com, click on the business tab, download that business paper today, and let's talk about how I could help your business improve and master communication so that you would see the return on investment, that key performance indicator that so many business owners miss. How's our communication? Can I afford to invest in communication? You certainly can't afford not to. So that's it for this week. Come on back next week and we'll look at some other things, but I hope that you'll enjoy that paper from my website. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. It would mean a lot to me if you'd rate and review the podcast so it helps more listeners to find us. But also, would you give me your feedback on things you'd like to hear about in future episodes? And remember to share the episode with a friend if you see something that would benefit them as well. You can reach me with feedback through my website at markburlinson.com. Just click on the contact button and send me a message. I respond to everyone personally, and I really want to hear from you. So thank you again for listening, sharing, reviewing, and giving me your feedback.